Just some extra breaking news for you. As you know, we are following every kind of bit of momentum that there possibly is regarding Donald Trump's 20-point peace plan after Hamas has responded to it and now the Israelis have responded to it. We've just learned from Donald Trump in a posting on social media about what he thinks about latest developments regarding the ceasefire proposal. He's provided an update on what's been discussed, and his post says, after negotiations, Israel has agreed to the initial withdrawal line, which we have shown to and shared with Hamas. When Hamas confirms the ceasefire will be immediately effective, the hostages and prisoner exchange will begin, and we will create the conditions for the next phase of withdrawal, which will bring us close to the end of this 3,000-year catastrophe. Let's try and help you understand what is meant by the withdrawal line. On Monday in the White House, Donald Trump and the Israeli leader released this particular map, which you can probably just about work out. The withdrawal line he's referring to is this line in yellow, which shows the Israeli forces plans to gradually pull their troops further to the east, so further towards Israel proper, further towards the borders of Gaza. The plan continues with suggesting also a second withdrawal phase after that, following further implementation of the plan, followed by a third withdrawal phase, which includes a security buffer zone. So what we're talking about is the initial withdrawal line, which would be agreed to by Israel after negotiations. So no indication that this is going to happen immediately. It's all contingent upon negotiations moving forward. Let's go live to Rosiland Jordan in Washington, D.C. Rosiland, what we know about negotiations is that Jared Kushner and Steve Witkoff, both Middle East envoys acting on behalf of US President Donald Trump, are heading to Egypt to try and make these plans a reality. What more do we know about what they have been tasked with doing?
Well, that's about all that we know about what the special envoy Steve Witkoff and the president's son-in-law Jared Kushner have been requested to do. Ostensibly, this is going to involve meetings with Egyptian, Qatari, Jordanian, and other mediators who are, and then in turn are working with Hamas negotiators on trying to figure out exactly what the withdrawal lines should be, what the other military conditions should be in order for this ceasefire to take effect. It's not clear how long that is going to take. There is concern both among the Americans and the Israelis, as we have heard on Saturday, about Hamas possibly trying to find any way to delay the implementation of this ceasefire, despite the statement that Hamas put out on Friday saying that it agreed in general terms to the Trump administration's proposal for a ceasefire agreement. But again, this is all a matter of negotiation. It's not clear how long it would take. Certainly, we did hear the Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu say on Saturday evening in Jerusalem that the talks were not going to go on indefinitely.
I suppose what we're looking for at the moment, Rosalind, is any sign of momentum from either Hamas or Israel that they are prepared to move ahead with Trump's 20-point plan. The indication now that after negotiations, Israel will agree to its part of the deal and move its troops further back. Hamas has also said that it wants evidence that Israel is bent on fully withdrawing its troops before it decides to, of course, disarm itself. But what everybody is focusing on, including the US president, is that potentially within a matter of days, we could be talking about the release of captives. Give us a sense of the pressure that Donald Trump is putting on both Hamas and Israel right now.
Well, certainly that is the crux of the matter. How much more leverage is the U.S. president, who is presumed to have the most influence on the Israeli government, prepared to use in order to try to bring the war on Gaza to an end? And then, in turn, how much pressure is he able to impose on Hamas via the interlocutors, since the U.S. does not have direct contact with Hamas? But certainly, given the president's personal distaste for the images of children dying of starvation and disease in Gaza. Nearly 2 years into this war, there's the presumption that the Trump administration is bringing more pressure to bear. Now, whether or not this is going to include sanctions, whether this includes financial inducements, whether this includes perhaps restricting military aid to Israel, whether there are other factors involved as carrots, as it were, to try to get both sides to agree to this agreement, is really something that we're going to have to watch as discussions begin in Cairo in the next several hours.
Rosalind, many thanks. Rosalind Jordan in Washington, D.C. Let me help you understand what we've just gleaned. It's pretty much sort of diplomacy by social media, because we have to study Donald Trump's Truth Social page very carefully to know what kind of progress has been made. But this is what we do know. After negotiations, Israel has agreed to the initial withdrawal line. That was one of the key points in Donald Trump's 20-point plan, that if there is going to be any kind of momentum, what we'll see are Israeli troops move from this blue line, which is close towards the sea, to where this yellow line is here. So a partial withdrawal in anticipation of further withdrawals towards Israel before a final buffer zone is created around the edge of Gaza. That, according to Donald Trump's 20-point plan. So signs of progress. But of course, the journey has only just started.